Hello, everybody. This is Hip Hop's biggest fan. Today, I'm with dare I say, I don't know. This is my first time speaking to this woman, but I dare what I say, an original around the way girl. Um,
Oh God.
I'm forgive me. I'm sorry. I
You
was just
you
trying to do some
good, you
research.
good.
I thought she was around the way girl. That's around the way girl.
You
I know
fine.
we all a little older. That's an old term. It's like a 36-year-old term. But forgive me. I'm a little older myself. But
Listen, I'm there with you. It's all good.
yes, ma'am. Okay, but I'm with Ida. She has the Beats Per Minute podcast, the Culture Canvas podcast, of the publicist for Black Mass Records, um, and goes by Miss Thursday. Also is the I want to say younger sister of the pioneering, legendary, um, original DJ for the Ghetto Boys, DJ Ready Red, his younger sister. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Happy Sunday.
Yes,
Happy
ma'am.
Resurrection Day, Easter Day.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Um, so let me see. Well, I'm gonna start as I always start. Where are you originally from?
I'm from Trenton, born and raised. I'm from
Okay.
Trenton, New Jersey. Grew up there, moved away in '98 because Uncle Sam told us to.
Okay.
But yeah. So I currently reside in Florida, but Trenton is my home.
Okay. Now I know your thing says you a hip hop head all day, and I know you have some history, especially with your older brother's history. Um, but I want to touch on something first that's about to happen. I want to say in about a month from now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the Trenton Made event. Can
Yes.
you please inform us of everything entails,
Yes, sir.
from everything. Forgive me. I'm just listening.
Nah, you're fine. So I have had the distinct honor and pleasure to be able to um work side, Culture Freedom from the legendary Poor Righteous Teachers and Mr. Paul Zink, who is the founder of the Trenton Music Experience. And so, Mr. Paul has worked in the past with, like Sarah Dash and different people in Trenton. And after, Miss Sarah passed away, he decided to create this nonprofit organization in hopes to be able to highlight, the different artists and from all genres that came from Trenton,
Mm.
met up with culture and culture kind of, pulled me in, talking with Paul about, our brother's contributions and different people's contributions. And so May 7th through the 9th, we'll have, just a weekend, just honoring and celebrating all of the artists that came out of Trenton, New Jersey. We've had so many groups, so many artists, so many DJs that have come from the city that a lot of people don't even realize, the great heritage that we actually have. They hear about Poor Righteous Teachers. They might hear about, my brother and his partner, Johnny C., but they don't know about suicide. They don't know about Truth or Square. They don't know about, Boulevard Mossy, or they don't know about, some of the newer, artists that are coming out of the city as well.
Yes, ma'am. Where it's in Trenton. Is there an exact location?
Yes. So actually, it's going to be a 3-day event. There's different things going on every day, but one of the things is at the Lobby Club in Trenton. It's on East Front Street, downtown Trenton, New Jersey. I believe it's 17th East Front Street. Um, the Lobby Club is opening up their doors to allow us to do a pop-up museum there. So Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday, you'll be able to go and see some of the memorabilia, different
Mm.
pictures, the whole nine. On Friday at the Passage Theater, which is, right downtown as well, right, I think up the street from, the Lobby Club, we'll be having a panel discussion and, different performances going on there. And then on Saturday at the Trent Town Market, which is, on the other side of Trenton, not too far still, we're actually going to have like different demonstrations dealing with graffiti and breakdancing. Leon Rainbow is, honoring us with his time and talents, and this really great little group that I'm trying to not say too much, but Yeah, we're gonna have some fun, and it's going to honor the elements of hip hop.
Yes,
We're going back to the elements and not just rapping.
rapping. Yeah, just rapping in the music. Yeah, because
Hmm.
it's way deeper than that.
Yeah.
Just okay. You told us the location. Just the idea. I guess general time frame is it from like
Mhm.
pretty much runs from like 12 noon to 2 in the morning,
So
or
yeah,
I don't know.
so Thursday night it's going to be in the evening. I wanted to just get, definite timing before I kind of put it out, but
Okay.
I believe I don't want to say. We'll
Okay.
definitely post it, but yeah,
Yes,
it'll
ma'am.
be in the evening on Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday it is going to start about 12, to about 3:30 or 4. There's a lot going on in the city that day. We got the verses with Don Black and his son that Saturday, so and it's
Oh,
Mother's Day
okay.
weekend,
Okay.
so it's going to be a lot going on in the city. So yeah.
So yeah, that's why I was asking. Like it seemed like it'll if it's all weekend, it's gonna seem like it's gonna probably be for the
Hmm.
majority of the noonish to afternoonish. If I had to guess,
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know. So okay,
Yeah.
you said May 7th through the 9th.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Um, yeah. So it sounds pretty dope. Like you said, representing all the elements of hip hop, which really don't even get talked about anymore between the b-boying and graffiti. They are like, and even DJing is, you
Yeah.
catch DJs, but it's nothing like I guess it originally was because the DJ wasn't
No.
the main guy. But
Yeah, the DJ was the backbone. And of course, you saw as the golden era was kind of being shuffled in, you saw that the DJ kind of took a back,
yeah, they kind of
step
was like,
to,
yeah,
yeah, the
yep,
MCs. And a lot of DJs, I think they had to pivot and become producers, honestly, to
yep,
still really kind of be a part of the
yes, ma'am.
culture, right? My brother was a DJ. He didn't have the technical training and all that somebody that might have went to school for engineering and all that stuff, but they learned on the job, if you will. When he got to Houston and was, asked to be a part of this group, he was part of, he had just got out there, started doing battles, in the city, met up with some other guys that was that was DJs. Shout out to Vicious Lee and John B and everybody, but you know, um, became a part of another DJ crew. And from their little tape they made, when he met James Prince, he gave it to James Prince. And James is like, yo, you want to, you know, be the DJ
Oh,
for this group? You know what I mean? And they ended up becoming a part of Rap a Lot as well. They was called the Def Four. So, it's like back then, the DJs were the ones that were kind of, at the forefront. But yeah, they took a major back step.
around what year are we talking? 80 what?
So, my brother moved from Trenton like right at the beginning of '87.
Okay,
He went. It was supposed to have been just a stop. He went with my our oldest sister Kim to Houston because some dude she was dealing with. That's where he was from. They was kind of having some issues. He went to go regulate. They ended up staying there for a little bit longer. And my brother's always been one that got himself involved in the culture of a place, right? So even like when we was in Trenton, Collins would be all up in Newark, all up in Jersey City, all up in New York, all up in Philly. Like he was just always like that. So, that's the first thing he started doing when he got to Houston. He started going to the local clubs and seeing who the DJs was and
man.
and everything. And when I was talking to Lee, one of the guys from Def Four, he's like, Lee and his brother, they're from New York, Philly, so they
Oh,
know, you know what I mean. But they had grew up, and had been out in Houston for a minute. But when they saw him, they was like, "Yo, you got this big tall dude coming in with the, fur hat and the little fur thing and the spikes and the whole nine." We like, "Yo, he's definitely not from here." You know what I
right,
mean? And
right.
but they connected because they got that East Coast, whatever,
Yes, ma'am.
and and now they're my brothers, you know what I mean. But
Awesome.
it was just one of them things. It was supposed to have just been a stop, and it ended up being what it was. And when he joined the Ghetto Boys, like I said, it was like maybe the beginning of '87. The Ghetto Boys had already put out their first single called Car Freaks, and so then it was Sir Rap-A-Lot, you know, Sir Jukebox,
I don't
and
mean
I
I don't
think
mean to interrupt.
okay,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But Sir,
Uh-huh.
I read, I did my research on this. But Sir Rap a Lot, he named himself, to your knowledge, after the label, or did the label?
No, so the label's named after him because Sir Rap-A-Lot was actually James Prince's brother. That was his younger brother,
Oh,
and that's
never
yeah.
knew this.
So yeah, so James Prince's brother, he was, would hang out with Keith, who's, Jukebox, and Raheem. They were all young guys. They're young teenagers. And so to keep them from hanging out and not going to school, he's like, because they're like, yo, like you should let us make a record. You should, get a, do whatever. So he did that to make them go to school. That's how
Wow,
Rap A Lot even started. So yeah, the label is named after his brother.
wow.
Hmm.
I did not know this.
Yep. Yep.
Holy, that's what I was like. I don't mean to interrupt you because
No, you're
I
good.
want you, I just want you to go and tell me your story. I kind of
Yeah,
feel
no,
like
you're fine.
I feel like I just want to know this story, whether I ask questions or not. I'm sorry, but I
Yeah.
was just like,
Well, no,
holy.
no, no. Because, the funny thing is that, I'm 10 years younger, and a lot of people laugh because I call my brother Collins. I don't call him Red. Never did.
Right.
He was
Understand.
Collins. So when I'm 10 years younger than him, so at that time, growing up in Trenton, we're listening to, more so New York rap. You know what I
Right.
mean? So when he's starting to make this music, he would send the album to him and be like, don't listen to it. And be like, don't listen to it. He's like, yeah, y'all not allowed to listen to because at that time you didn't hear, like what they was putting out in Houston. That wasn't the norm, you know what I mean, in the New York, Philly area or whatever. So
It was damn near
I'm
it was
learning,
unheard of.
yeah, I'm learning a lot about him since he's passed. Because of course I knew Collins, but I
Right.
was introduced to DJ Ready Red when he passed away.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I knew he
Okay.
DJ'd. I knew, and it's weird because it's like almost you have the people that knew him when he was in Trenton, and they love to talk about when he was at, the Capitol and when he was DJing the parties in Trenton.
Hmm.
That's the DJ Red they want to remember. And then you have the ones that want to be like, no, that was DJ Ready Red from the Ghetto Boys. So it's like I didn't know that one because that was so far from us
Right.
that it was, it's so much that I'm learning about his career and the things he did while he was in Houston since he's been gone through his friends and fans and different people that I've connected with.
Yes, ma'am. Um, would it be fair to say he's the one that kind of introduced you to hip hop in a way? Is that fair?
A little bit, but I actually, I mean, it's definitely fair to say because, I'll be 51 in May, God willing, right? I'm one of the people that don't know a world without hip hop, right? So growing up,
Yeah, y'all pretty much
I'm
the same age.
hearing,
It got like
yeah,
a year
yeah,
or two on you. Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So it's like, growing up, I'm hearing, hip hop and not realizing how important what I'm hearing is going on because, Collins was a major, like he was a major Grandmaster Flash fan.
Mm,
Grandmaster Flash is why
mm.
he became a DJ, right? Some of our
Yes, ma'am.
cousins that lived up in New York gave him a tape. And
Mm.
from that tape, he told my grandpa, like, hey, this is what I want to
All
do.
the dudes.
You
Right.
know what I mean? Yeah. So, it was like I'm hearing the message playing all the time at home. I'm hearing White Lines playing. I'm hearing all the break beats. I'm hearing all this stuff and not understanding that this is a whole new
Thing.
culture that
Yeah.
just started.
Just as old as you.
Right. You know what I mean? So it would take, it would come over after a while. But even for me, I didn't really, really grab hold of how blessed and important, and grateful, honestly, I am that I had that
Mm.
until when he passed, I was able to connect with so many of his friends because, honestly, probably a couple years or so before he passed, he was like actually going out and doing different panels and stuff with a lot of the first and second generation artists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was very good friends with, with like Raheem from the Furious Five and Grand Wizard Theodore and all
Mm.
these guys, like, and I got to bring them to Trenton, to do a workshop. So I did not realize then, but he definitely put the bug in, but I always kind of give like my real love for hip hop to my niece because she's 3 years older than me. So
Oh,
she's the one in the
okay.
80s when, every week there's a new dance. She's coming home from the parties like, this the prep, this the WAP, this the this, you got to listen to this song. So between the two of
Okay.
them, that's where my love came from.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
My goodness. I mean, speaking on your brother, I mean, the things you're saying. He's a pioneer in what we consider, I guess, Southern hip hop. Houston
Yeah.
hip hop as a
Yeah.
whole is
Hmm.
incredible. Especially you look at that coming from New Jersey and man, that's just incredible how that happened. I mean, an original ghetto boy, and even
Yeah.
was still there when I guess when they finally decided to okay, we're going to revamp this and get
Hmm.
Scarface and the more well-known version of Scarface, Willie D, and Bushwick Bill. That's just incredible. Like,
Yeah. And see, for
wow,
me, I feel like the entire story is so important. Like all of them guys played their part, from, Raheem, the vigilante. Like,
the
without
original,
him,
the
yeah,
original Ghetto Boys.
the original Ghetto Boys,
Yes, ma'am.
Sir Jukebox, like all of them are so important. Like all of that part, all of that is important because,
Absolutely.
number one, you don't get a rap a lot without that original group, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Raheem, who actually is also from Trenton originally,
Oh, okay.
without even knowing that this was, you know what I mean? Like this is a God thing, right? Raheem family
Mhm.
is, still in Trenton, but he's originally from Trenton as well. He is going solo at the time that my brother is coming. And then, James' brother had got in trouble. So my brother calls like, yo, he makes the call to Johnny
Oh,
C, like, hey, Johnny, I need you down here. They need another MC.
okay.
Because him and
Okay.
Johnny was already in a group in Trenton. So then Johnny C comes down. They are the second set, if you will, of the Ghetto Boys. And, so it's him, Johnny C, and Jukebox. And one of the other guys from Def 4, he's DJing at another club. He tells my brother, hey, Red, like, it's this little midget that be in here breakdancing and stuff. You got to come see him. So my brother
Bushwick
goes
Bill.
to and that's how he meets Bushwick.
He's
So
from New York,
Bushwick's
right?
kind,
Correct.
yeah, he's from
Okay. I'm sorry.
Bushwick.
I don't mean to
Yeah,
interrupt. I'm
he's
listening.
from Bushwick. Nah, you good. So, Bushwick originally goes into the Ghetto Boys as a dancer. He's just dancing on stage, or whatever. And when, Johnny C leaves the group and, Keith leaves the group, that's when you get Willie D and you get Scarface brought in. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for the history lesson. And even with saying that, I thought um the few years ago when it was the hip hop 50
Hmm.
anniversary, I thought that was I thought about it a few months ago, whatever, and I was like, that might have been the greatest year in hip hop because it brought back the importance and highlighting, and a lot of them came out the woodwork of the original pioneers,
Hmm.
and giving people their credit and they do, and I think this might have had a little bit to do with, I guess what they call them legacy artists putting out albums now, or
Hmm.
like last year, a lot of legacy artists put out albums.
Last
Like the
year was
past,
a good year for hip hop.
yes, ma'am,
It was a
yes,
good
ma'am.
year. It was a good year.
It was very balanced, and
Yeah.
also showing the newer generation, like, no, if you consistently, do
Hmm.
your thing, 20 years, this is a 20-year career.
Yeah. And
All that
more,
rapping is for is a
and
young man's
further.
sport
Yeah.
is
Because
over.
I think that is what we put value into, right?
Hmm.
So you have like certain artists from the first and second generation that never really, got what you see a lot of
Talk about it.
artists from the
Yes, ma'am.
golden era and all that got, right? But they have longevity.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like what they did, we wouldn't have hip hop without them. And then
Literally
you
laid down
have
the foundation.
exactly. And then you have like, artists of today that, it's like that they're not going to be listening to some of these guys 50 years from now. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like sadly, a lot of times what happens when somebody passes away, you hear every radio station playing the music, or Friday, Saturday night, we want to hear stuff from our eras, from whether it's the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s. Like you can't get away from that hip hop. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
oh,
And it's always going to be there because it was such a time, and even like, when you think of the other genres, the 90s was just a crazy time. But one of the things that I find that makes me proud is, my brother and them are actually part of the class of '88.
mm-hmm.
That was a major year for hip hop
Yes,
because
ma'am.
that's the first time you saw hip hop everywhere. It wasn't just coming from New York. You had, the Fresh Prince and them coming out. You had NWA and them coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You had people coming out from everywhere. So, I
Yeah,
always thought that
Two
that
Live
was
Crew
really
down
cool.
Miami. Yeah, yep, yep.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to say this since you talked about, please, I mean, please talk to me about the year '88 to your recollection and your feeling and your emotion and your love. Because yes, '88, I want to say might have been the second most important year. So, like from the
Listen,
beginning of hip hop.
for me, I know it was great because, in '88, what am I like? Maybe, how old am I? Like 12, 13, somewhere, around there. But like, my favorite MC of all time is Rakim. I,
Mm-hmm.
I love
Oh,
Rakim.
where my rock Kim at?
And
Right, right,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hearing hip hop. I'm hearing, Salt and Pepper. I'm hearing Dougie Fresh and I'm hearing all of that. And I love all that, love the Beastie Boys. I think I really started paying attention to stuff for some reason, Paul Revere got to me. Like I used to love that
that
song,
beat,
right?
that
But when
beat.
Eric B for President came out,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I became a hip hop fan. It was like something different about that. Like that's when I became like, oh, wait a minute, this is not just everything else that be playing on the radio. I became a fan then. So for me, '88 was a really major year for me because that's when I really started paying attention to
Okay.
everything.
Yeah, and
I'm
you saying
listening, I'm
in that age.
dancing, all that stuff, but '88 was like, okay, something different going on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Oh no, that was definitely a hell of an impact year. One of the most important years in hip hop history. I think that's
yes.
undisputed from everybody. A lot of people say that's the beginning of, well, I guess, what they kind of call the golden age. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of beginning, kind of the
Yeah,
beginning, because you said you get
yeah.
hip hop from everywhere now. Like,
Everywhere. Yeah, yeah,
yes, ma'am. Yes,
yeah,
ma'am. Um,
yeah.
my goodness. Yeah, I saw one of your posts. I want to say you said something about your brother took you some to a concert or something. You were like 9.
So yeah, so I
Please tell
was
me about this
posting because
experience. A 9-year-old
yeah.
at the concert. Oh,
Well, no, it
what?
wasn't. So it was okay. So
Okay.
in Trenton back in the day, right, we had a roller rink. It was called the Capitol Roller Rink,
Oh, okay, a
and
roller rink.
it's one of those staples of hip hop for Trenton. Like we didn't have like a lot of major places, but there was like a couple places that you could come to where you could hear hip hop music, where you might have a performance and stuff like that. So my brother, he became like the resident DJ there.
Mm.
He was the resident DJ at the roller rink.
The,
And,
ro- the roller rink was everything
the
back in
roller
the
rink
day,
was
y'all.
everything back then. Yes, yes.
Tell you.
And so now, mind you, my brother was a big bully for me. Okay.
Okay.
So he was a huge Bruce Lee fan, really into Star Wars and the black, movies and all that stuff. And he used to make me pay like me and my niece had to pay money to come in his room and look at all his posters and pictures and all that stuff.
What?
Like this is
Damn.
the way it was right back in the day.
Damn.
So yeah. So you figure, what was it like when Thriller came out, right? Now I was
88, 83,
actually
84, something like that.
yeah. So I was actually a Janet Jackson fan before I was a Michael Jackson fan. Like I love Janet Jackson. So I had like the first couple singles she put out, I got them. Then when Control came out, I got that. Thriller came out. I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to Janet's brother. That's the way I viewed it back then, right?
Damn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to listen to
So
Jada's brother.
yeah, that's how I was feeling.
Okay.
So this dude came home one day. He was like, "Hey, um, I need to get your Thriller album because he needed another copy, right?" So I'm like, I'm
Real
little,
DJs got two.
yeah.
Real
So
DJs.
I'm like,
Sorry, I'm here.
okay, so you gonna bring it back? He's like, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna bring it back. I still ain't got it, right? So then it happened again with Control. I was like, okay, if you take this one, you're gonna have to let me go to a party. So he's like, all right, I got you. So this is months go past. And then he was like, all right, I'm gonna let you go to the roller rink tonight because Roxy and Shantae gonna be there. So I'm like, okay. Now mind you though, 10-year difference. So he's 19, you know, he's the resident DJ. I'm 9. I had to stand at the DJ booth. I couldn't move, couldn't go out, couldn't go roller rink. But I was happy because Roxy and Shantae was there. So that was the first time he let me go with him. And the next time he was DJing at the Boys and Girls Club one night.
Okay.
He used to like there was like 2 production crews he, kind of worked for before he left from Trenton. He used to like we at one point lived in South Trenton, and right next door there was this guy named Wee, and they had I think it was called King Funk Disco Productions or whatever, and they would go out and they would do a lot of the parties, the Y, Boys Club, the Lawrence Center, stuff like that. So he let me come near. I thought he was going to kill me that night, actually, because, yeah, they're setting up. I don't know that the DJs generally, back when they would carry all them crates, that they had their records set up a certain way.
Oh
So
no,
while
you
they're
didn't.
setting up and
No,
doing
you
stuff,
didn't.
I'm in the crate rearranging.
Total violation. Yeah, I'm sure he was
No,
out
ain't
there.
nobody tell me. I was bored, and I'm a kid. So, but I'm still alive, so obviously he ain't killed me. But yeah, I thought I was going to die that night.
I'm sure if there was an option, he might have tried to video
He
game
probably
you.
he probably wanted to take me out. That because
Oh,
I yeah, that was bad. Now that I know, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I thought I was helping. I thought it was just messy.
honest mistake.
Listen,
Honest mistake.
this is you got to tell people rules before you take them places. But yeah, the Capitol, it was like a major, um, kickoff point, honestly, for us being able to have that. Um, Connection to New York because one of the guy, I think his name was Arthur Armstrong, was the gentleman who was bringing a lot of the artists from New York down.
Okay.
Collins had connected with him and was like doing different things with him or whatever. And at the time, that's when him, Johnny C, and this other gentleman named Roddy had a group. They was called the Mighty MCs, and they would go around, and do different stuff or whatever, talent shows and different stuff all over the place. But yeah, from that, that's how we had our connection, in real life to hip hop, without having to go anywhere else was the Capitol. And also we had this other place called the War Memorial Building where they would have a lot of shows. So like we had the Fat Boys, we had, Big Daddy Kane and all of them came down and stuff like that. It's still somewhere where, we go to, have different events and stuff sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's still that. That's still that.
hmm Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Unfortunately not the roller rink, but
That's what I was gonna
the War
ask. Yeah.
Memorial ain't going
It's
nowhere. Yeah.
it's the roller
No,
rinks
if
and
I think that if the city really understood just how important the roller rink was, I don't think that it should have ever been taken down and made something like, because it's just like a car wash or something now. Like that should have been a landmark. That should have been a landmark. I think that if they really understood what it meant to the city for, that, but you know,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, that roller rinks. If you hear almost, I'm gonna say majority of people early on in the '80s hip hop stories before they got on, they would go perform at roller
oh
rinks,
yeah,
and this was
yeah,
all over. You see it
oh
in
yeah,
you hear it with your story.
hmm
I think they showed it in NWA's movie.
hmm
I want to say I heard about it. Something I mean, in Detroit. I can imagine where they the stuff down in Atlanta. I can only
yeah.
imagine everywhere else.
Yeah, I
The
mean, I
roller
think
rink was
that,
everything.
anywhere that had a roller rink, that was a major thing. And then you think about like when you really get into like the history and do research, like when it came to hip hop in that early stage, there was only but so many places that they could actually go and perform where they was going to be accepted and stuff like that. So, you got to go where the youth is, and of
Yes,
course,
ma'am.
like in New York, they got the park jams and they had certain clubs that had started allowing them, but in other places, it's just starting to get out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, this
everybody is
probably
just
before
kind
there
of.
was even hip hop radio stations in a lot of places. I can remember.
Listen, I can remember, because in Trenton, we're right there in between like Philly and New York, right? So depending on what part of the city you in, you could get, Power 99, which was a Philly station, and then you could get like Hot 97 and stuff like that once they became. But, I can remember back in the day listening to, Power 99 and remembering Lady B, and like she was so integral in all of us really being exposed to hip hop on the radio because she brought it there, But I remember when you had to wait till the evening and at nighttime for hip hop to
Yeah.
actually play because they was not playing it during the day.
Nope.
Or you got the Rap and Duke. That was all you was getting during the day. The Rap and Duke they was playing all day long. But at one point you had to wait. You had to wait till a certain time, certain day for it to come on. And that was even what was so cool about in just going a little further past my brother and them, but like how important like Tony D and Juice and all these different DJs in Trenton because when they kind of went to, the college radio and they had, listen, that became so major
Yep.
because that's what really exposed us to a lot of hip hop. We was getting a lot of that underground
Yes,
through
ma'am.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, they were definitely doing it big. I guess before the commercial radio stations were. Yeah.
hmm Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when you, like I said, when you go back and you research, that's the common thing, even
Mm-hmm.
to this day,
Yep. Yep.
like, working with my nephews, with their music and stuff, even now, like if you really want to, get something out there, you want to get to a college radio station.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Man. Okay. So I'm just wondering, is because I see you have a few podcasts. You're a publicist for a record company. Um, how did all of this come to be? Is it just
Okay.
was it just
So I when I saw you put, I was like, oh, that is all on my Instagram, huh? So, Beats Per Minute podcast, we've been taking a break. It's a lot longer than what I planned. And we plan on starting back up this year. But Beats Per Minute was like kind of a project that I was wanting to find a way, like I'm a nurse by trade. And then my brother being a DJ or whatever. I always wanted to find a way to kind of be able to help, other people. Like, my brother, when he passed away in 2018, they said it was from an alleged heart attack. And I started paying attention to how many people in his age group and some of the first and second generation artists were passing away from like strokes and heart attacks and like stuff that should be kind of preventable but seems to be taking us out, right? So I always wanted to figure out how could I kind of help in this space. And so it was like maybe 2022 going in 2023, like I was laying here one day and it was like National DJ Day. It was like the next day. And I was like, yo, I should like make a podcast just highlighting and just celebrating DJs, just bring that back, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was like, and Beats Per Minute came to my head and I'm like, oh, that'd be cool because it's like kind of, is something that we use in both worlds, is we use it in medical, we use it in music, right? So
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I
Wow.
happened to, like the next day I'm talking to, my brother Keith or, one of the guys, one of the original members of the Ghetto Boys, Sir Jukebox. And I said, hey, I think I'm going to start a podcast and, I want to call it BPM, Beats Per Minute. He was like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, do you understand the meaning? Like why that's important? And I'm like, no. And he was like, you don't know about this, that was the name of the studio we used to record at? And I'm like, no, I knew nothing, because I don't know nothing about y'all career, really. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah. He was like, Doug King, he owned Beats Per Minute Studio, BPM. I was like, well, I guess that's a God thing, whatever. So, so that's where, Beats Per
Incredible.
Minute came from. And it's just me and my daughters, we kind of work together, and it's a podcast that we merge hip hop, health, and Matters of the Heart, on there. And yeah, so we all love hip hop, different stages or whatever. Um, but health is so important in this space because we are like mainly the ones that are affected by so many different chronic conditions and diseases, and sadly, like even more so, our age demographic are the ones that's passing, not the older people. It's us. You know what I mean? And it matters to the heart. It was just, to be able to talk about, grief and death and, and stuff because, so many people in hip hop have lost people.
Yes.
I've had some really great conversations on the podcast in the past. Like, I'm so blessed to, have become friends with so many of his friends. And one of them is, Kyle Lukes, she writes for, so many of the hip hop, publications. She used to watch, be a major writer for Hip Hop DX.
Okay.
But, she's working for, Rap Central Station. She writes for them. She works with Chuck, D a lot. And, just being able to start out the conversation on a podcast with her about just even losing her mom and losing,
Hmm.
Plug from De La Soul, like just having those conversations that nobody else was having. So, we're going to come back. I just wanted to make sure that we were doing it different. I didn't want to get stuck in that rut that like everybody got a podcast right now and
Yeah.
everybody's
No.
talking about the same thing.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I
Yep.
really wanted to take a minute and figure out like what our lane is going to be. And be really helpful. Like I really want, to make sure that I'm giving real information and not just talking.
Yep.
And
Understand.
then cultural canvas, like that was me and one of my homeboys. We never really got it started, but hopefully we will because it was like his pet project, and I was just down to help him.
Okay.
And yeah, Black Mass Records. Shout out to my nephews. Where everybody wears a mask. I am the publicist,
Okay.
even when they're not doing stuff. But yeah, but yeah. So Black Mass. That is my nephew's label. They originally started out in Trenton. Their group was called Heart of the City, and they was really kind of kicking up noise. But when they moved to Georgia, in the Atlanta area, they still had the label, but they weren't really, it wasn't Heart of the City anymore. They just kind of had, some of the guys were separate. So my nephew, Sice the Preacher, awesome, awesome artist. He's doing a family thing, but he got some, major heat. And then one of our other artists called Tease, like he's so dope it don't make no sense. Like he get on my nerves because he's so dope. And they got
Okay.
so much music that like they could literally put out mixtapes for days and not ever have to get in the studio again. It's
Mm.
ridiculous. So shout out to my nephew Tim, and my niece Natala, who are the, over there at Black Mass. One of these days, y'all might see the anime that I'm trying to create from some of the music because I came up with a real dope idea. But anyway,
Okay.
yep,
Well, I mean, I know the AI is a lot helpful with creating things. I've been, I'm just hearing what you're saying.
yeah.
Creating something.
Mhm.
I want to say shout out to Goldfingers. I think he said he's in
Hey,
here.
what's up, Gold?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that connected us. So
Yes,
thank you
yes.
so much, Gold, for.
Gold is so dope, and the funny thing is that when I was doing, I was just kind of trying to see if there was any things out there, kind of like as we're getting prepared for this event, I was trying to do some research on, like, if there's any more info on some of the newer Trenton artists and stuff like that.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
happened to come across the documentary he did
Uh huh.
that had Johnny C on there, that had, Suicide, and, a lot of the different artists from Trenton. So I had hit up Johnny C. I was like, "Oh, we doing interviews now?" Like, cause he usually don't. And he's like, "Oh man, I didn't even realize, whatever." And that's how I connected with Gold, was from finding, the documentary he did on the artist, and we've been locked in, ever since. So
Yes, ma'am. Solid gentleman. I appreciate him for connecting us. I know he's given me uh, several alley oops.
yeah,
So he appreciate you so much, Gold. Thank you so much,
hmm
bro.
yeah,
Um, Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead as a hip hop head, hip hop's biggest fan.
Okay.
Can you tell me five of your favorite albums?
Five of my favorite albums.
I
So
don't mean to interrupt you.
definitely.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm gonna say
Okay.
this because this is just my philosophy.
Okay.
People's five favorite albums will tell you a lot about them.
Okay.
That's just my opinion, but I'm
Okay.
listening.
Okay. So I will say, number one is definitely going to be, Eric B. and Rakim, the Paid in Full album, right?
Hey,
Okay.
hey,
That's
okay,
going to be,
wow.
that's going to be number one. Um, Number two, I actually, let me see, what do I want my number two to be?
They don't have to be in no particular order.
Okay. It
You
don't
know
have
what
to
I
be in
mean?
no order. Okay.
No particular
So
order.
I will actually say Public Enemy, their first album, like, cause
Bum Rush
that
the
it
Show.
was.
I think that was Yo Bum Rush no, Yo Bum Rush the Show. I think.
Yeah, I I thought they were so different. Like,
Yes.
like it like when they came out in that, what it was like 86 or so. It
Mm-hmm.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
so I just, so you know, that like generally 4 out of the 5 days on my way home from work, I'm listening to Rebel Without a Pause to get me home.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
where I'm at with it, right? Um, I think that the next one would be Wu-Tang. Like, um
They first album, they second
when Wu
album,
Tang when Wu Tang first came out,
they 36
I
chambers.
was, yeah, I was just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
I
was
see it
totally
all up
different.
there. It
Oh, you
was
like what?
so, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
But I
I'm
will
listening.
say
I'm sorry.
that,
I'm listening.
no, you good. What they was very reminiscent of a group that was in Trenton called Nation of Riot, because there was a lot of guys there. You know what I mean? So when
Okay.
I first kind of heard them, I was like, oh, but I love, because of Collins and his love of Bruce Lee and all things Kung Fu,
Mm.
I thought that their whole concept was like super dope. But yeah, yeah. So where I'm at, is that number three?
That was three. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Illmatic.
Mm. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think there's nothing to say.
And then I'm gonna say, cause like Nori was like, he was like one of my favorites. So when he did his first solo,
The NORE
like
album,
I rocked that so much it was ridiculous. I had what I call the baby Bronco. It was like one of the smaller Broncos. It was my OJ
it was a
Mobile.
two-door Bronco.
It was the 2-door Bronco. Yeah, it was just smaller than this one. But yeah, me and my best friend Trent, we used to ride around Trent and just listen to that.
Sound like me. I was telling, I think I said before, like, man, that joint was like the soundtrack of my life in 1998, the summer of 1998.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I
and I
can
mean,
remember
it
when I
has
bought that.
definitely been a lot of music in between all of that. But when I think of like what I still am pulling on right now,
Your
it's
favorites.
from all of them. Yeah, it's
Yes,
from all of
ma'am.
those albums. Yeah.
That's
So what
why
does
I like,
those say about me? What would you say those say about me?
yeah, yeah. Well, I would say first things first. You're not stuck in like no one particular time. It ain't like just all
Mhm.
from 2 3 years, kind of thing. Um, it's very diverse.
Thank you.
It's very diverse. It's super lyrical and it's fun.
Yeah. I love lyrical. I love, like, something like, oh, wait a minute, like, what did he just say? But I do like fun. It took me like a little while to kind of get into, like, some of the like that more party type of, stuff. But yeah, Smith and Wesson, like, I love all like that. I love all that. So when, you know, what was like when Clips just came back out with the album,
Yes,
when
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
uh
They
who was the
restored the
other
feeling.
from, yeah, from the that whole like Smith and Wesson clique.
Wu
Somebody
Tang
else
Clan.
just had that. Yeah, who else came out? Was it them that just
Yeah,
came
they
out with?
did. They actually came up with an
Yeah,
album. Was
that
it the last year, like the year before that?
it was like,
Something like that.
yeah, that was super dope. That
Yeah.
was super dope. It's been like a couple people that just came out with stuff like what Nas just did.
Yeah, with the mass appeal, the
Yeah,
Ghostface, man, that Ghostface, yes, ma'am,
I love Ghostface. Ghostface is so ridiculous
yes,
with his lyrical content and the way he tells the story. and how hype he be is. I love listening to Ghostface, even though, and I love meth, but I always said that my favorite is actually Inspector Deck.
We're gonna go ahead and say it because I think everybody knows the story now. Had that flood not happened in the RZA basement and destroyed whatever music they had, Lord knows
Can
what
you
his debut
imagine?
album would have been. My God, it just in my mind, it's almost like a great basketball player that you see them do so many things, but they just got injured and you just never really got off
Mm-mm.
because anything that he is on,
He
he
kills it.
destroyed. And
He
I'm a
kills it.
job mad now that he wasn't on that damn Tupac song at the end. Cause he killed that
Oh,
shit. I heard it on
yeah.
YouTube somewhere. I said, man, why y'all take him off here, man? But that's just a side story. I'm sorry. It's just
Oh, you fine? Because I told somebody that they was like, "You for real?" I'm like, go back and listen.
go back and listen. And this,
He's
I want to say
crazy.
he is arguably one of the greatest like song setter offers. I don't know what you call it. The person to set a song off.
Whatever. If you want to get something started and you want it to start out right, he is absolutely
Yeah,
always going to be that.
yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
come out just like I like to say the first verse, the first lines, or whatever. Got punch you in the mouth as a listener. You just like, oh shit, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, man.
But Ghostface, my favorite Ghostface, like, I love his solo stuff, but Scary Hours, his part on there, he
Okay,
is like
okay.
so ridiculous. Like the
Yeah.
story is so he be so hyped on it. I listen to it just to hear his part because you can visualize
Mm-hmm.
the story too. It's yeah,
Yes, man.
yeah,
Yes, man. Oh, that's awesome. I'm trying to think of anything else before that because I don't know if the thing sometimes only lasts.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
um, I'm trying to think of anything else hip hop to anything else you want to add. In case while I'm
I
trying
mean,
to
just,
brainstorm.
if, I know that, we're doing this live, but I hope that, number one, if anybody in the tri-state area want to come out and just support, because this is just, the event, May 7th through the 9th, Trenton Made is just, our way of just honoring the artists, the DJs, graffiti, writers, the dancers, whoever. Everybody is just about, celebrating the hip hop culture that was in Trenton, because we need it, but that doesn't exclude anybody, right? Any other artists that might see this, please, please, please get your stuff in. Like I want to see everybody included. This is not just about my brother and them. This is not just about culture and them. This is something that we want everybody to be involved in. So whether you was from the older generation or you just starting, like, please reach out. I really hope that everybody will participate. The goal is, of course, for Trenton Music Experience. They want to eventually open up a brick and mortar museum, and
Oh,
then
okay.
of course, it'll be open with all genres. But we want to make sure that the Trenton artists are well represented, and that at the end of the day, people realize how many people from the city have done things and what they've done, because a lot of times you can't Google certain things,
Right.
and so, my goal is to, just help as much as I possibly can, make sure that, that they're celebrated and that, they're remembered. And not just after they pass away, and everybody want to post a picture, but that they're remembered for what they did for the city. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, they was, they really was making a lot of noise, and and even there was a lot of groups were underground, and I think that we're kind of going back to that, which I don't mind. I don't
Yes, man.
mind.
Yes, man. Yes, man.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm. Is there any particular favorite or most memorable hip hop moment of yours, either personally or I even go here with it, say with your brother there, because I know he was a little bit older than you, so he might have still been like a preteen or a teen, and he, like you're saying, when he took you, Roxanne Shante was there.
Mhm.
Anything of those natures that you can share with us?
Yeah. So, I think it just with my brother, period. I think like after our dad died, this is like mm,
My condolences.
93 or so.
Okay.
um he came, he had was like right in that phase where he was coming back from Houston, and we used to just ride around like in his truck just listening to music, some of the music like beats and stuff he made, but like we was like heavy on that Sade like CD,
Hmm.
with Cherish the Day and all that. So like
Okay.
that's
Was that Love Deluxe? Love Deluxe is a bad, yeah,
yeah, we would
yeah.
just ride around just listening to that. So like that, those moments are what's meaningful for me with him. And also I think after he passed, I had the pleasure of becoming friends with the legendary Van Silk, who was like one of the first, like generation promoters. He's
Okay.
I call him like the Forrest Gump of hip hop, because like he's literally been a part of
Every
so much stuff,
okay.
So he's over Rap Mania, was like his thing, and he does a lot of events and stuff still. But like, the my brother passed that Friday. um, I reached out to him that Saturday because of a post he made. And from that point on, like literally that weekend, Van was calling me like every 5 minutes with somebody else on the phone, and it's like I always would make the joke that like if I ever write a book, I would say, one chapter is going to be called "Hello Ada, this is Van Silk." That's how he always introduced himself.
Okay.
But like that's how I got introduced to, you know, um, Tabby Kell Rockwell, to Grand Wizard Theodore. He's calling me with Curtis Blow on the phone because I was crying so much that he called, Curtis, like, hey, we need to, you need to call and pray for Ada. Like, so Curtis Blow is praying for me. Sparky D is praying for me.
Oh my
Chuck
goodness.
D's calling, like, um, those are the things that I, are those memories are the, most important. And being able to connect with Pete Nice and Paradise, through the museum they're building in the Bronx, and being able to give them some of my brother's stuff, for
Awesome.
the museum there. Like, and they're super nice guys. I can hit Pete up now. We sometimes chop it up or whatever. But it's like some really nice, like, just cool, down to earth people, that we all fan over or whatever.
Right.
um so I think it's like that kind of stuff that means the most to me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, I thank you for your time. I'm kind of out of questions. Like you said, May the 7th through the 9th, Trenton Made in Trenton, New Jersey. Um,
Yes.
y'all tap
And
in.
just, just be, kind of keep an eye on social. We'll be posting a flyer soon that will actually have the times and everything. But yeah, if you're in the area, please come out. Don't forget, Don Black and his son are having their verses. I think that's going to be dope. And it's going
Yeah,
to be, yeah, it's
Tyrant
going to be,
Fly, I think
yeah,
is his son's
yes,
name.
yes, Tyra
Yeah, yeah.
Fly. Yeah.
I got to
I'm,
interview him.
yeah, I'm excited about that. I told Don, I think that's cool. I think that's
Absolutely.
going to be cool. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. That'd be like watching LeBron James and his son go one on one or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, ma'am.
yeah, yeah. It should be real interesting.
Absolutely. It should be
Hmm.
dope.
Yeah.
Um,
So just shout out to everybody in the city. A lot of people are doing a lot of big stuff. You know, I said, I know Don got a project that's about to come out. Andre, he got stuff going on. One of our DJs, Divine Drummer, he's the original DJ from Truther Square. He got a really, really nice mixtape out right now on I think it's is it Bandcamp, but it's called Rewhips 18. Is pretty dope. If you're a real
okay.
hip hop head, you want to go listen, especially track two. Track two got me in the chokehold right now. I'm not saying what it is. You just gotta go
Okay.
listen. Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. I mean, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
For sharing all this information and these stories and
Yeah.
your experience and your
Thank
life
you.
with us.
Thank you. Thank you. And definitely glad to have connected. I got a special love for Baltimore because I'm a super huge Rider fan.
Okay. I mean, hey, it's a classic. It's a
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
Favorite
I
character from
got
The
to
Wire.
I got to meet Sonya Son a couple of like years ago. out at the in Atlanta at
She,
the Nappy Roots got a spot out there, and so they was
uh-huh.
having an anniversary party, and she just popped in.
She's the lady that played the detective. Yeah,
Detective
I remember.
Kima.
I don't mean I'm gonna just share a story. I remember when they were shooting The Wire. I was
Wow.
unaware of it. I really wasn't watching it. And it's a grocery store. I'm in a grocery store. I'm looking like this lady look familiar and shit. I just kind of I ain't want to stare at her. This is early 2000s. So I'm just
Hmm.
looking at her like, where do I know this lady from? And showing up like the day or two later. God damn it! But
Detective Kima.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Awesome.
So, yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for
You're welcome.
what
Thank
you're
you.
doing. I see that I think you and one of my boys are also, following each other. So I want to give a shout out to Back to the Lab. D is like my
Okay.
homie. Like he is definitely dope, and I'm super proud of everything that him and his significant other are doing over there. You
Yes,
know.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Shout out to them. Well, you have a wonderful Sunday,
You too.
wonderful week. Um, all the greatest success with the Trenton made and exceptionalness that's about to go down in a month.
Thank
Um,
you.
yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed day. Peace.